Hello and welcome to the channel. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Alright, well this is how to play Warzone Bingo, and it's a quick tutorial for anybody who's interested. Let's get right into it, okay? Step 1. You want to select the card and then declare that card. Declaring your card simply means that you add it to the team's scoring sheet. Step 2 is to select your play options, either selecting a row or playing the entire card. This is just about making sure that you have preference and can take it easy so you don't have to stress. Step 3 is to select the playing mode. This is basically working with your team to select the rules and expectations. And then step 4 is to play and score your round. Step 5 is to enter your score on your scorecard. And step 6 is to submit that score to your team. Step 7 is to submit a video to your team for review if they want to challenge your score. Or also just to see some cool highlights and watch their teammates rock out. And step 8 is to declare a winner after 10 games. Having a blast. Alright, let's take a look at an example. This would be an example game, and I would have done some things to get set up for this game and worked it out with my squad, setting the ground rules, setting the expectations that we had, and then I would have by this time selected my card for my team. And in this I could be playing solos and using the solo version, or I could be playing the solo squatting, which is basically working it out with my team so that if you go in solo, you get to add points. So each of us would play solo games or play individual games, and then and we could even play with others, right? There's no real criteria that hampers you from playing. You could be in a game of randoms and run a solo squatting. It just means that your squad, the guys that you normally play with, the people that are playing this game with you, this side mission game with you, that just means that they know what card you are using and they have evidence of that game. That's basically it. And you score it based on how you play and what you do within the game. So it allows for a lot of options. You could even do it while you're playing in squads together, or you could break off 2 and 2, still working together, still playing the game together, still, playing the way they want you to play, which is to work together as a team. But you could also be having this side mission with your mates that you're trying to fill out a bingo card. Maybe 2 of you are trying to fill out the same bingo card. Maybe, 2 of you are working on a bingo card, and the other 2 are working on a separate card or their own bingo card. There's a lot of variations that you could take with this and have a lot of fun with your squad. So already I've got one by just 1 point. You get a mark in my bingo card by dropping in the north. There are a lot of variations to the cards, and you can even make up your own cards. And links to all of this are in the description so that you can get rolling with your squad and have some fun doing this. If you wanted to have this side mission element, there's a lot of ways that this could be a lot of fun for your squad. For example, can you imagine you guys are trying to work on something and you need one more thing. You need to get you need to teabag an enemy or something, and so your squad mate is trying to help you get that or prevent you from getting it so that they can get their whatever point they need to win for the squad if it's the 10th game. It's just a way of adding a little fun, a little dynamic element to it and mix things up so that it's just a variety, adding a little bit of spice for squads that play a lot together and mixing it up a bit. So at this moment it looks like I have a bounty on a player and I'm gonna pursue them. Even though there's no contract completion on my bounty card, I can just play the game the way I play it, and then I can either get scores or try to set things up. At this point it's pretty early in the game to try to set things up. but I know that I can go a couple of different directions, right? At this point, because of the first mark on my bingo card, I can get a bingo in at least 2 different directions. And then of course you get that free space. All of the center spaces are free spaces. But it's also a little note to remind teams that if at the end of 10 games, or at the end of this game, this round, it could be, depending upon how the teams set it up. For example, if the teams agree that excuse me, if the players that I'm playing with agree that the middle square is for rounds, then if I get the most kills in this round, then I would get those extra 3 bonus points. And it could be, you know, that you save it for the end, so the most kills in the 10 game, in a full game, which would be 10 matches. And then you just record those 10 matches and submit them to your team, and it's pretty simple. You know, because I mean, you're not going to cheat your team, I guess, unless you're a weirdo. I don't know why you would cheat your team. But at any rate, at this point now, I'm clearly working on one path, just based on what I have available to me at the moment. And you can add anything into the squares. I mean, you could add in or change anything that is in here. Follow the link in the description and you'll be able to find ways to make your own cards if you want. And it just depends on what you know, it'll randomly, add the cards and generate those cards for you. So you can have some pretty nice randomized cards. Like you might have complete contracts, but the reason I don't have complete contracts on this squad card is because you're doing it together anyway. And so everybody would get it. So I try to mix it up and make squad cards. And then I also have, for me personally, I've made up some solo cards that are also linked in the description. And you have access to those if you want to use those instead. But it gives you about, I don't know, I'm going to say 60 cards, maybe 50 cards to start off right away. All I ask actually would be a like on this video, that, and maybe give it a shot and see if you like it. On some cards there's get your loadout, not on this one. So this is this is a little bit more of a challenging card. But I did get that free space, free center. Even though I don't have the most kills on my squad, I get that as a free center mark to help with the bingo portion. But it won't count, I don't get to count 3 points extra unless I have the most kills in my squad, or of my squad in the round, or in game. So it'll really be up to the squad. Maybe the squad has a rule they set so you use the rules that I've already outlined and that are in the description. You use those rules, and then you can modify them a bit. So you may say that we're going to do top 10 kills after 5, or top killer after 5 games gets the 3 points, and then the next round, which is the next 5, that killer gets, the top killer gets the 3 points there. So you can split it up a little bit like that, or you can do by round, or you can do by game. And again, 10 rounds is a game, is a full game. It gives everybody on your squad a chance, right? So because you're going to have people on your squad who have varying degrees of skill and interest and time. So for example, let's say my squad plays together regularly, but they also have some times where one player can play off by themselves, then you can do it this way. Because we could have some solo rounds, and then we could have some squad rounds, right? We could say you have to run 5 solo rounds, and then we'll do 5 squad rounds. Or we do the first 5 solo rounds, and then the last 5 squad rounds. So whether or not, or you can do it by a window. My point is that as a team, you could determine how you're going to set the parameters for scoring. So one way, as I explained, would be you say, so for the first 5 rounds of our game, and you can be playing games here, it doesn't all have to be about this tournament, so to speak, this bingo tournament. You basically could say, we're going to play 5 games, where you have to play 5 games solo at the beginning of, say, June. And then you have to play 5 games with our squad. And you identify your cards prior and all that stuff. So you set it up with your team, and you get your agreements, and you use the scoring card to kind of help everybody remember what cards they said they were going to use and that kind of thing. And then you just score it. And so in that scenario, the first 5 games would be based on solo. So you just play a solo and amass as many points as you can using the card that you tell your squad you're going to use. And then the last 5 games would be with your squad, amassing the points that you use in those different games. And each game, or each round, so to speak, there are 10 rounds, and each round that you play would count. And it's just a matter of what are the rules that you set with your team, what are the expectations you set with your team, and then you guys could determine what you wanted to do in terms of rewards for that. Like, do you get, maybe acknowledged on one of the top, whoever in your group is your reward maker, would come up with some ideas on how to reward the top killer, the top player, the person with the most points at the end. So it's pretty simple so far, and then so you just play. And then a nice thing about this also is that it doesn't measure anything but action, and you can set the action as a squad. So you guys could literally get together and decide what's going to be on the bingo card, and that's what's on the bingo card. And so once you've determined that, it does a nice thing. It keeps, for one, the reason I do it in solos is just to give me something to do so that I can think about something besides the contracts that are on the game already. So it forces me to move, it forces me to think, and forces me to challenge myself to get to different places and do different things as a solo operator. But whenever I play squads, which I'm in this case would be playing a solo squad game against my mates, and I need to get these last 2 things to get a full bingo, well, then I can target those. I'm hoping I can find a satchel in this game, right? And then I'm also hoping that I end the game with at least 3 kills, which would give me a bingo, which would then give me 10 points that I would add to my team's score sheet. And for this round, it would hopefully give me enough points to push me ahead. And even if I'm playing against another player who's better than me, they're going to be queuing into lobbies that are to their level, and they're going to be competing at that level trying to get the same card, but just a little bit more advanced. So it's nice and fair. It balances things out and allows you to just have some fun with your squad mates. And then if you do it while you're all playing in the same round, same session, you can definitely work together to help each other. And again, you could create new competitions like 2v2 within a quad to just have some fun with that. So, it's just a way of adding a little bit of fun, a little bit of spice to your gameplay, and something else to think about, something else to do, something else to have fun with. I know a lot of people are using that Cronin Squall, and it's good, and I've used it as a single fire, but I'm also trying the TAC B just to see how it goes. I'm not disappointed right now. Right now, I'm thinking that based on tests so far, they're very similar. And when you do the single fire, they're very similar in terms of TTK and that kind of stuff, at least on the dummies and on plated players so far that I've tried in all my tests. But I have used the Chrono Squall, and I have beaten some people that, ooh, it was close, you know. And anyway, but like as an example, speaking of that gun, I have cards that say get kills with op meta and get kills with meta weapons. And so it just depends on what card you draw is really like. So because I have created 30 cards, it creates a pretty good variety for the options. And because then I have another extra 20 squad-based cards, creates another 50. So you have quite a bit of, you know, options for cards to choose from, which creates that little, you know, new dynamic. So if you get a card that's very different than your teammates, maybe you get a bingo, maybe they don't get a bingo. So I got another point for. I should have jumped behind that cover instead of toweling him. But I got another point. So even though I died, I got a point for the game with my mates. And I just need to get at least 3 kills, another kill, and maybe a claymore kill. I'm sorry, maybe find a satchel. If I can find a satchel, then that would be really handy. But I've got at least 3 kills to end the game with, so that's good. So now I've got that. So right now I'm sitting at 5 points. I mean, if you had a really good game and you got a bingo and extra scores, I mean, you could walk away with quite a few points. I mean, and if you did everything on the card, I mean, of course, you know, you're looking at 25 points plus a bingo. So 35 points just for filling the entire card out. That would be hard to overcome if you were that player that did that, and your teammates were trying to catch up to you. And I mean, and again, another nice thing is that you can play this by yourself, and your teammates can play at a later time, and you can still kind of have this rivalry going on, this little competition, and it's about Warzone, and so, you know, it's a way of competing with your friends. And you can come up with all kinds of ways of doing it. You could do it duos, you could do it trios, you could do it, you know, just individually. Like, I have to compete against them one-on-one. I have to compete in, you know, we could do trio teams if you had 6 players that played a lot together. You know, the point is just coming up with a way that you and your mates who play a lot together can have an additional little spice to your game. Well, I was overconfident on that, wasn't I? Just challenged the crap out of that, not even going for, like, I really would need to find a satchel to get that bingo. Or I have to shoot an enemy from a vehicle, and that's not going to happen this late in the game. So that row is chalked for bingo, but the other one might be an option. Except that at this point, I'm being pushed by that player I shot, who turns out was hiding against the wall waiting. That was the one I shot earlier. So I ended up with 5 points. And I take those 5 points and I apply them to the score sheet, and then I make a short video just of the clips that relate to those points, and I forward it to my mates, and that's it. Thanks for watching.